Don't... Oh my stars. No, gosh darn it, that was way worse than last time. If only my Switch didn't demand me to play with Joy-Con drift. Silly rant aside. Artfight again. Who knew I could keep up a schedule for this long? A weekly Artfight video? Seriously, you probably guessed from the intro and the background music and the thumbnail. Unless you didn't consciously press it, perchance your autoplay is turned on. That today's video has some relevance to Cuphead. Because of course as soon as I get obsessed with a piece of media, I immediately have to pump out a ridiculous amount of content for it. So today we're focusing on one of my self-insert OCs. Yes, you heard that. I don't care if you think it's cringe, I wish to reclaim my joy and whimsy, thank you very much. Say hello to entry 1, or I guess 2, of my self-insert characters, and watch me design him, and draw him, over and over again. Then some quotes, and I'll actually show you his Artfight profile this time. Who thought I could actually do that? But what is Artfight? Well, here's a brief introduction to it, and if you don't need that and you wish to skip, here's the timestamp. Artfight is an annual art gifting game that takes place during the month of July where artists alike can post their characters to the website and create a form of art for other people's characters for points, so kind of like a game. Each year there are 2 participating teams, like in 2025 the teams of fossils versus crystals. Users can choose either of these teams, but the teams don't dictate much outside of the colour of the accents on your profile and the teams you receive more points from. The term attack refers to a piece of art you give to another player, usually it's referred to giving one to the opposing team, meanwhile friendly fire refers to a piece of art you give to the same team which gives you less points than a regular attack. Defense is referred to attacks that you receive. The points received are dictated by effort rather than skill, so the point system is incredibly friendly and allows for beginner artists to gain a good amount of points too, but don't try and fixate too hard on the points, Artfight's supposed to be just for fun. So do whatever's within your realm of comfort or desire, you can do tons of little sketches or grandiose rendered paintings. You're not just restricted to 2D art, so don't feel pressured to only do 2D art. And with that, let's cut the rebop, get comfortable, grab a snack, and most importantly don't forget to hydrate. Yes, I'm referring to you over the screen there. And let's get to drawing. I'm going to be honest. This character was made purely out of impulse. Like, completely out of impulse. Last Friday night, if I remember correctly, I watched a random Cuphead video. And of course that's triggered my annual Cuphead fixation. And in my modern era, that means I end up self-shipping with at least one of the characters and have to make a self-insert for it. Or them in this case. So who's the victim of my cringeworthy self this time? The Devil and King Dice. Further continuing the pattern of men that would put me if I was within punting distance being on the list of characters I self-ship with. Wow, what a funky pattern. Just like the most average guy ever and he's pathetic and has glasses and sometimes they have another thing in common but we don't talk about that. Yep. That's me. A live contradiction. I love vampires, and in extension bats, if the vibe here wasn't enough to tell you that. As you've already seen, I have a tendency to lead towards Dracula. I am also known to only ever draw myself as a bat when it comes to personas, because I'm blind as a bat without my glasses on. So I guess that was the starting point. Cuphead's setting is quite the fantastical one, so I definitely won't feel too far off to have some sort of vampire in here. I like vampires. I want excuses to draw more vampires, so you know what? I'm gonna draw myself as a vampire. After that I wanted to get down a basic idea of the clothes, something I think would suit him and something I would also wear. Originally he was more clothed, wearing some bottoms, which I can only assume is what you would wear for a school uniform. Because, to be completely honest, these are the only pair of trousers I think would ever suit such an outfit that I also have worn in real life. Then I ate his trousers, and now I guess he has some sort of Donald Duck vibe, wearing some kind of loose blazer that resembles a cape you'd associate to that of a vampire, just less weighty on the back. A yellow button-up, and of course I can't forget my Sona's usual bow tie. And by usual, I also mean twice. The first body sheet is what I would call a disaster. Maybe I thought it was too oversaturated. But that was a specific feeling I was going for, and the colours that I was looking at in front of me were not evoking those emotions from me. So I went back over it later in hopes that maybe, by chance, I could fix up and actually feel something that I wanted to out of this. Thank the stars it worked, because I genuinely have no idea what situation I would be in right now if that wasn't so. I was aiming for something cute and perhaps marketable, but also with some washed out colour, just to sense there was something off about him. I mean, I made an outline of what it would be like if he was a Cuphead boss for Cup's sake. A vampire boss at that. I don't know if I would ever go through with the idea of making a boss with him, but honestly I wouldn't be completely adverse to messing around on Scratch once more after, 7 years? Just to get a tiny bit of practice and show people a little bit more of my passion for this game outside the typical info dumps, obsessive gameplay and watch sessions for the game itself. Who knows, maybe in the future I'll dip my toes in for the sake of it, but don't get your hopes up. This is gonna be a weird little side ramble, but can we talk about how different the King Dice and the Devil versions are from the game to the show? I can see similarities between them, but they feel like completely different people. I like both versions, but they're very distinct people from each other. And of course I self-ship with all of them, but that's besides the point. My point is that they are very distinct from each other. You have the Devil from Cuphead, absolute maniac. Don't do bets with the Devil from the game, but also I wouldn't really say do bets with the one from the show either. The only issue is that I think I would be more willing to do one with the one from the show than the one from the game. And King Dice. I don't want to talk about how different King Dice is. I love both versions, but is a very significant difference, I would say. But again, he's nice in both versions, so I can't really complain. I wasn't necessarily trying to nail the Cuphead art style per se, but I did want to get a rough idea of it. So I kind of tested out a few things, and I think I got something half decent for what I was going for. He just looks like a vampire guy. This guy's name is Vamadev, and he has a little bit of history, and by that I mean vaguely outlined his concept and lore. As his Artfight description reads, Vamadev is a vampire settled within the third Isle of Inkwell, often found wandering around the streets at midnight. He is often stressed as he's between 3 jobs, being a playwright, a stage director, and working cahoots with the Devil and King Dice, who is also in a secret, but kind of not, relationship with both of them. He also has some ties to the other canonical characters of Cuphead, while obviously getting into some altercations with both Cuphead and Mugman. In addition, he has a history with primarily Sally stage play. I reckon they've probably done shows with each other, probably starting purely professional, but I can imagine Vamadev asking some of his actors out for a drink once every other play. Then their relationship would end up less professional and lead more into the purely platonic. That's easily manipulated into professionalism when necessary. I think his secondary boss of importance, of course excluding the obvious, would be the Phantom Express. It's more of a vibe than anything, considering there's an air of the same aesthetic coming off both of them. Especially if he does live within Isle 3 and he regularly visits the Devil and King Dice, he may happen to run into them on more than one occasion. I have reasons to believe you would be a big fan of the Conductor, and maybe you dislike the Lollipop Ghouls, but that's just an idea. If I'm still crazy over Cuphead in a month's time, maybe I'll flesh him out when it gets to it. Other characters he has connections to, Ribby and Croaks, although they don't really know each other or anything near of a personal level. I imagine that the two went to one of the plays directed by Vamadev once upon a time, and have some respect for him. Vamadev would have mutual respect if we ever actually got to know them off stage. Apparently I put here that he has some degree of relationship with all the women in the original Cuphead game, excluding Rumour Honeybottoms for some bizarre reason. To clarify, that excludes the Cuphead DLC. He does not know Sergeant O'Farah, although I think he would get along pretty well with her. No, I'm not biased. And by extension, he does not know the Howling Aces or any of the characters from the Delicious Last Course. So that includes Hildeberg, Baroness von Bonbon, Carla Maria, and as previously established, Sally stage play. He has some knowledge of the other men in this area too, but the only one he has a slightly stronger bond with is Jijimi the Great, and besides that, He has some connection with Dr. Cole, Captain Briny Beard, and Grim Matchstick. But I think that's all the information you need for now, so just rest and watch the rest of the speed paint and viewing of the profile.
Rain was stupid and forgot to record the outro before the one weekend where he isn't allowed to use his microphone, so instead you're getting this. Watch a film and hydrate, I'm talking to you. Yes I am. Hi, bye.